She has been on the ABC show Grey's Anatomy. She has been on the Fox show Empire. She has been on the Fox show Resident. I haven't seen that one. She's been on the NBC show Chicago PD, which is one of my wife's favorite shows.
Mhm.
She is the creator and star of the one-woman show Sexotomy and Sushi Frito. She has worked at the Free Street Theater because she loves the kids and giving back. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about the fabulous Melissa DuPrey from the Hummel Park DuPreys. What's up, Melissa?
What's up? I will say something about Free Street Theater. I'm a teatrista, so I have a degree in theater, and the stage is my first love. Free Street Theater was the first theater in Chicago where Black actors can get their equity card, the first professional theater. Free Street Theater was built in 1969, so it is, next to Second City, one of the oldest theatrical institutions in the city. And it was one of those places where if you love the parks, you would race to see a Free Street show because they had a wagon that would just flip the sides of the panels out and become a stage.
Awesome.
And you would just see a free show. So they would just put a poster up in the park a week before they would pop out, and people would come, take off work. They would come with their families to see a Free Street show. It was very much about the parks, and it was never a youth ensemble. It was a multi-generational ensemble. It was a professional theater that brought theater to the people. And so what we did in a lot of its resurgence is we did the same things. It's like we would spend the summer doing a play in the park, but a lot of the theater that we would do is public intervention. So sometimes we would just have an actor sit at a bus stop, and once there was enough people there waiting for the bus, they would do a quick 5-minute monologue.
Awesome.
And then people would go on their way.
Awesome.
It really brings not the streets to the stage, but the stage to the streets. And so when we think about theater, we think about high productions, we think about ticket sales, we think about Broadway, and you know, the MJ musical, I can't afford tickets to that thing. It's like $400, $100. Any, you know, the Beyonce, you know, concert is $400. A lot of these public spectacles have been monetized in such a way where we're not allowing culture to be available and accessible to the masses. And Free Street Theater is a pay what you can model. Sometimes it's just absolutely free, but we still have to subsidize costs to, you know, make that monologue. And that monologue is always about, by, with, for people of Chicago.
Wow.
Always.
Awesome. So I forgot these other accolades. She is a guest. She's a playwright, producer, activist, musician. I say magician.
I'm a magician.
You're a magician.
Magic.
Oh, Lisa.
You
musician
know who you came to see.
And stand-up comic.
Yes. Oh, I want to, you know,
Go
speaking of that, you know, I wear many hats because I have a big head. But Los over here is truly the only reason why I have a stand-up career.
Wow.
And I say that because anybody could have taken a class to do stand-up. My very first 5-minute set was with Mikey O at Joe's on Wheat Street, but that was a guest spot. Maybe, I don't know, weeks later, months later, Carlos headlined me at the AG Lounge and put my fine on a poster. And I would not have gotten that opportunity to do that and actually hold 30 minutes for myself, 45 minutes for myself, split with my play cousin, Vince Acevedo, who at the time was Chicago's up-and-coming comic. So Carlos put me in the room where other people would have had me pay my dues. Not that I didn't pay my dues, but he really saw in me something that he wanted to cultivate, and I advanced and skyrocketed in such a way that I really owe you a bulk of my gratitude for that stand-up career. And thank you for putting me on.
You're welcome.
When you didn't have to, and thank you for giving me a headlining and feature space when there were 3 other Latinas and you chose me. And thank you for that. And thank you for just doing it so like passionately and saying, no, you got this. And I want Melissa. I want Melissa. And
I did push.
You did.
Yeah,
you almost harassed. So thank you.
Well, listen, it's like I told you back then. I think you're a superstar.
Thank you.
I really do. And I know you're a superstar. You are that. And you've been proving it ever since.
I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry. I'm a thug. I'm a thug.
So funny about that. You mentioned your age earlier. You said you're 38. For your 28th birthday, I threw your 28th birthday at the AG Lounge.
I sure did.
Yeah, I was
My
looking.
mom was alive.
I was looking through the pictures today.
Yeah. I also pulled some pictures from us.
Mm-hmm.
I did. I have some. My 28th birthday was there, and there was a lot of people who are not in my life anymore.
A lot of people were there. They're not there.
Yeah, and well, it's important. It's important to name that and remember that because I think you gave me the first kind of instance of community, and I knew friendships in ways that I did not know. I had to be taken away from Chicago in the mid-90s due to a lot of gang violence. And I spent a bulk of my formative years in Houston, Texas. And so as soon as I got my degree, I moved back to Chicago and I had to rebuild my life because a very traumatic event happened to me and my mother that forced me to just start my life completely over and reconnect with my roots. I became a bombera. I went into bomba en plena. And I used a lot of the culture to redefine myself and to recreate myself and evolve. And I did that starting from 2010. And yeah, I think that you were a big part of that rebuilding of my life because I did not know who I was anymore. I faced violence no matter where I go. Just because I left Chicago, I met the most violent times in Houston. And so I really needed community and I really needed culture and I really needed my community culture career to sustain. And you gave me a lot of that. So thank you.
I'm happy I was in your face all the time.
Man, didn't get out of my face. But there was a lot of people who were involved. I think Chicago has this really beautiful thing where like you can grind here. Iron sharpens iron. The Midwest has the most real people that are in any part of the world, right? We know how to hustle. We know how to have a good time, and we know how to incubate for the winter and come out in the summer. Right. I think that we are really magical, and we are true survivors, and we have an innate nature to kind of like split a pork chop with each other. If I got, you got.
Yeah, I love that.
Right? If I see you suffering, Chicago's not nice, but they're kind.
I feel you.
We're not going to let you suffer because you're too important, because you're involved in something that I need you for as well. So we're going to grind together. And I think it's really important that we continue that. I think you demonstrate that and you exemplify that, where so many people, we get a piece of the pie and they hoard the pie.
Yes.
Or they're gatekeepers, and they monopolize the industry. They say, I'm doing this so you can't.
Right.
I'm cultivating this so you can't have it. You have to go through me to get it. And I'm just like, that model is a scarcity model. And that also puts you at the top, where like I look laterally. I look to the person to my left and the person to my right. We got it together. I don't have to look above me. I look to what's around me, and we are abundant in our resources.
Amen to that. So Melissa, we got some icebreakers because the people that want to know a little bit more about you. They know the artist and the activist and the comedian, but do they know things that you like? So we're going to start off with Melissa, tacos or burritos?
Tacos.
Why tacos?
Burritos the size of a baby. I can't fit that in my stomach. But burritos the size of an infant. Okay. You ever be like, after burrito, I'm like, I'm gonna go jogging. No, you really. Sink to the floor.
Yeah. You go into the sunken place.
Yeah, 2 tacos and I'm on my way. Still mobile. I could eat a taco on the way. And, good.
Word. Salsa or merengue?
No me gusta los merengues. I'm a salsera through and through, and you know this.
Okay.
Man.
Okay, I do. Okay. Beyonce or Taylor Swift?
Why would, first of all,
I know, I put them together just for fun.
Taylor Swift, never. Beyonce, cool, but Rihanna. Okay. I'm just gonna say Rihanna.
How about Beyonce?
No, wait, don't do mine. I get this one next.
Go ahead.
Okay. Erykah Badu or Sade?
No.
I just saw Erykah Badu. I think I'm gonna go with Badu, and this is why, because she's also a doula.
Yes, she is.
She's a doula and she's a holistic practitioner. So I really give all light and honors to Badu for all of the things that she's trying to enlighten Black people on, and people in general, like home births and making sure you connect with the sun and the moon and sleep. And I really think that she has messaging that is for people. And Sade is really just about her music.
Word.
You know what I mean? Sade is like, I'm in the album, I'm in the studio. We don't know when the music calls, it will call. I'm like, great, I'll just wait 10 years for you to show up. But Badu's out here.
Yeah, she is, definitely.
Right.
Jay has one for you.
You know what? Erykah Badu or Lauryn Hill?
For very different reasons, I will go with Lauryn Hill on it because I think that she has a political message, and I love her poetry, her lyricism. I think she's one of the top MCs, not man or woman, but period.
Yeah,
Lauryn Hill is an icon, and her lyrics just really try to explode the status quo and just kind of like release us from our mindset and really look at liberation on a global level, like our connectedness to Earth and breaking away from capitalism. The way that she spits on capitalism is truly like, I want to be in that mission.
Word. Hip hop or house?
House
music.
All day.
No hesitation.
House.
I thought we were gonna get a little hesitation.
I did too.
But that was just
Biggie or Tupac?
Tupac.
Why Tupac?
He was a theater maker. He wrote plays. He was a genius, and also a son of the revolution, son of Assata Shakur. And I went to the Tupac exhibit in LA.
Oh, man. I want to go.
Listen,
we'll be in LA in October.
Yeah.
Well, it traveled already. It travels.
We'll
so just look up where the Tupac exhibit is next. It is not to be missed if you're a hip hop head. But truly, I was in tears because he kept journals and he wrote screenplays, plays, poetry, journals just about his life. He wrote he wrote manifestos, and all of the pages were very carefully ripped out and they were all displayed so you can read all of his journals. And so he was a great I'm going to say imaginateur.
I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah, he was an imaginateur, and he was a savant. He loved to read. He was so intelligent and emotionally intelligent on a next level. And I've done so much like research on him, and I dream about him. Plus, I was just falling for no reason. Tupac all day.
Okay, because you've done both and you do both, TV or theater.
TV pays, theater lives. I won't pick one.
Okay, comedy or acting?
Acting, because comedy. I feel comedy can pigeonhole.
Okay.
I think an actor can be funny.
Okay. Your favorite movie? One off top of your domes. I know there's a bunch.
Yeah.
Top of your dome.
Witches of Eastwick.
Who the what?
Witches of Eastwick.
Oh, the Witches of Eastwick. Okay.
That's old school. Man.
Listen, I am an 80s
that.
baby, and most of my favorite movies came out of the 80s genre. But if you were, I just recently made a list of my favorite movies, and it was at the top of it, and I'll tell you why. Polyamory, witchcraft.
Jesus.
So it actually and Cher, right? Like it has my favorite actresses. Jack Nicholson is amazing, and it was one of the movies that really shaped like my whole personality. But I have several for different reasons.
Word. Okay, so last two questions: white rice or Puerto Rican yellow rice?
Drum roll.
That's a big one here. That's a favorite podcast.
White rice is versatile, but you need to be a G in order to make a good pot of arroz con gandules, and mine is the best.
Okay.
Ooh.
All right.
Mine is the best, hands down.
Right. Chicago pizza or New York pizza, and where from?
Chicago pizza, rest in peace, John's Pizza. Tavern style is the true Chicago style pizza.
Okay. All right.
John's on Western, huh?
Rest in peace.
He's gone. I actually used to work for them. I used to deliver pizza. Yeah, I did it for one summer.
Yeah, and were you like sick of it for a week after?
I pretty much was.
Yeah, you were sick of it. I was like, nah. I missed the football with the 2-liter. It came with the RC, and my grandfather. I come from a family that has a lot of kids, right? My grandmother had 10 kids, 5 girls, 5 boys, and there were like 34 grandchildren. And so at any given time, my abuela's house was stacked with cousins. And so my grandfather was a taxi driver. He came in with a John's football and a 2-liter almost like 3 times a week. And so they were doing those things where if you get 20 of those coupons, you get a free pizza. They hated him. They hated him because he stacked those things, and he would just like, when the delivery boy came, he wouldn't even have a tip. He would just be like, the 20 coupons, and then close the door.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Oh wow. So Melissa, what have you been up to lately?
Writing. I'm in a place right now where I'm learning about the industry, and I really want to pitch and create the work that I want to see, that I think doesn't really encapsulate us. So I'm looking around, and I see a lot of Latin content. But there's not enough Puerto Rican content. There's not enough Chicago content. There's not enough Chicago Puerto Rican content. There's not enough Black people in the Latin community. There, we absolutely exist. Gina Torres is amazing. A lot of people forget that she's Cubana. I think for me, I just want to create work from a place of where I know grief, I know joy, I know Latinidad, I know hustle, and I'm just like, I need to see more. Now there's a lot coming up. There's a show, Survival of the Thickest, and I feel like that is, man, I'm like, just when I think I'm close, there's somebody that's been working 5 years ahead of me.
Wow.
And it's hard, right? Because like you don't know that until you're in the pitch meeting. They're like, yeah, we got 3 of those. So what else you got? Or like, that's a cool show that kind of sounds like this show, and we want to steer completely away. And so you have to always have options when you're going to the table and saying, this is the work I want to create. And so I'm trying to find out who I am as a writer and just practice more creation. It's grueling. Writing is one of the most difficult crafts out there. And I'm just trying to get better at being the kind of artist that I'm happy with, because I know I have ideas, but whether I translate them well is still something I'm learning. And also just practicing some humility. Like I might not be the best, but I'm at the best version of I am right now. And I trust myself. And there's a lot of what's it called? Not fraud, but imposter syndrome.
Fakeness.
No, imposter syndrome. Word, right? No? Imposter syndrome, like not believing that you're good enough, or
I see.
second guessing your own talent. And I know that I'm a very talented person because God gave me this talent, and I have to also make sure that I'm pouring into my spirituality that allows me to have a creative current and an artistic relationship with my spirit that's not transactional. I can't just be pulling from it all the time when I want to create. I have to pour in. And so I have to really right now go back to just incubating for a while and developing and actually having a beautiful creative process with myself. Sometimes it's just going to the cabin in the woods and crying for 3 days. Like, why? What's the story in that? And then purging the story.
So, Melissa, as a child, when did you know you wanted to be an actress?
I did my first play at 5 years old at Casa Puertorriqueña. And I always knew I wanted to perform. I was dancing and doing a lot of those things. But it wasn't until my first semester in college, like in an institution, where I was pre-med, I was doing a lot of nuclear science technology, and I was very good at math and science. And I was like, this does not make me happy. Like, I can do it, but I'm a clown. Okay. I'm a clown, and these people are stuffy. Like, I look around and it's all these Asian people, and I'm like, bones, am I right? No, none of that. And I knew I needed to be in theater. I knew that I had a passion for the arts. And, later in my life, I met a lot of contention with my family, who absolutely knew I was talented, but I'm like, you are not going to make a career out of this. You're not skinny. You're not pretty. You're not like an ingenue. You're like, Hollywood doesn't look like you.
Which is false.
Thank you. I know I'm fine. Thank you. I have to believe that. I have to believe that we create a lot of doubt because we don't have enough exposure. And so if we expose the diaspora, if we expose our stories, then we'll be able to really accept people that look like a variety of things. So I knew from a young person that I was, that this is what I was drawn to, but whether or not I was going to make a career out of it, I knew in college.
Okay. So you say your family wasn't that supportive in the beginning, but how was your mom?
They believed I could do a great many things. They wanted me to run for president. They wanted me to, nobody had doubts of my ability. They were just kind of skeptical at first of what I was going to choose to do. And to this day, my grandmother's like, well, why don't you just get a job? You should just get a job. And I was like, even now to this day, when she could see me on TV and that's her favorite thing, she's like, bueno, ahora es tiempo, do you want to have a baby? Do you need a job? And so there's some of that. Even I every day kind of want to quit. Every day I kind of want to quit. But every day I would miss it, and I would also not be in alignment with my destiny.
Amen.
Every day, I tried to make choices that align me with what I was put on this earth to do and what I was anointed to do. And if it's not in alignment, it doesn't sit right with my spirit. So it doesn't matter who wants what for me. It's what I want for myself. My mother was always very supportive. She was my biggest fan. She was at the front row of all of my shows.
Pretty much.
She took me to get my first vibrator. She was like, she made me who I am, right? Like, we don't shy away about talking about sexuality because we are empowered by our prowess. Our prowess is what really bends nations. Men do anything for.
Yeah.
So she really
I did it last night.
Right. You did a lot of things, but you wouldn't do. You would do anything for love, but you won't do a stripper pole.
I won't do no stripper pole.
It's life, people. It's life.
You gotta have your boundaries.
Absolutely.
You have to have your boundaries. I have better boundaries than I did before, but no one tells me what I can and cannot do, and no one tells me where I should be. And I just, the people who say you can't do that, and I just say watch.
Love it. I love it.
And you've been doing it ever since. Yeah. You've been doing it ever since.
Nobody asked me how I pay my rent, and that's fine. My OnlyFans is Swiss feet.
And I think she's serious. But you know what? Let's monetize Melissa DuPrey. She has a YouTube page. I don't know if you run it or not, or somebody else runs it.
No, I have it. But if you want to monetize anything, I'm on a platform called Cameo.
Okay.
Look up Cameo.
That's right. You just posted that.
Look up Cameo, and Cameo is a place where any of your favorite celebrities, B-list, A-list, D-list, are on there. Reality stars, TikTok influencers, anybody. It's an invite-only platform. And so if you wanted to get a Melissa affirmation that day, or me pull a tarot card and read it for you, just want to get a birthday greeting, a shout out, give me just a video congratulating my friend on the job, you can go on Cameo, you can request it, and the money that goes to it, and it's a nominal fee, it's like $25.
Right.
For the time and a very personalized, cool, creative video for me. You can go there, order it, and I return it in a few hours.
That's awesome.
Dope.
But I'm still gonna mention this other way as well. Melissa needs 500 people to subscribe to the YouTube page. 500. That'll get monetized after 500 people. So go right now.
Subscribe to YouTube.
After this one. after you subscribe to this one, go to Melissa's and subscribe to hers. 500. Get her monetized.
And there is content there. So what you get when you subscribe to my page, you will get the first season of 50 Blind Dates with Melissa DuPrey. And that was a dating show that I created during the pandemic, where just 10-minute small little episodes, you get to see me on a live date with a person that was set up on my Zoom. And you also see 4 of my full-length play, Good Grief, Sexomedy, Sushi Frito, and Sexomedy 2.0 are also on my YouTube page. So if you subscribe, you'll be able to get access to that as well. And some other odds and ends videos that I've posted on YouTube.
Awesome.
Hola, mi gente. This is brought to you by Face Strong. Face Strong is a faith-based apparel line. So when you purchase from Face Strong, it helps us stay online. So go to www.facestrong413.com to purchase your apparel.
So in the next 5 years, Melissa, where do you see yourself?
Hopefully still here in Chicago. I do not want to leave. I believe in Chicago's sustainable arts economy. I want to own a home if that's possible and if that's in God's will.
Definitely.
And I do want to teach people how to do what I do. I'm a professor at a college right now. I teach theater. I want to see people creating their stories and their narratives. And I want to be a series regular on a Chicago-based show where I can live here and go to work and come back home.
Have you ever been on The Shy?
Twice.
Awesome.
Chicago PD twice. But I'm talking about series regular. Series regulars, they still ship people in. So the leads are not from Chicago.
Okay.
So I believe that if it's a Chicago show, they should be using Chicago actors.
Absolutely.
Shameless too.
Yeah.
A lot of the Dick Wolf shows, these people are from LA and New York, and then they fill in everybody else with Chicago-based actors because they don't have to spend that much money. But I think that we need to really make space, and I want to be a series regular. I want to be filming my own show, maybe show running it, maybe wrote it, but As long as I'm working in Chicago, that's where I want to be.
On the TV show Chicago PD, did you get killed off or are you still on there? Are you still alive?
No, they're waiting to bring Lieutenant whatever back.
No, Ortiz is the
Grey's Anatomy
Grey's
character.
Anatomy.
Yeah, no, that's dead. That's dead. I had to watch the show to find out that I was written off. That's how they do it over there. They are. I can't talk about it.
Yeah. But okay, they just not bringing you back. But on the show, you don't die or anything like that.
I did not die. They fired all of the residents because I did not. One resident accidentally killed somebody, but that was a serious regular
in the show.
Yeah,
I did not see that one.
Yeah. Dr. Levi accidentally killed somebody, and then they were like, "This program is dangerous. Dr. Weber method is the lie." And then they fired all the residents, but they had me pinned for 3 episodes, but then they slowly just like erased my whole storyline. And after I showed up for work one day and I left, I never was asked back.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they don't even communicate to you. We're going in another direction. They don't tell you, no, we're done here. Thank you. Nothing. It just dissolves and no communication.
That's wrong.
But that's a juggernaut of a show. It's been on for over 20 years. And so, when you get to that level, I don't think it should be made with less respect. But I think that there is a toxic culture when it comes to TV and film in that way, in that regard, where like I am completely expendable. And knowing who I am, I'm like, I'm definitely worth a conversation. My agent and my manager who guns for me, who goes to the bat for me, they're the ones taking all of the heat and they have my livelihood in their hands. So like they very much are trying to come to the table with like, this is what Melissa's worth. And sometimes in things that I don't even see sometimes, but they're the ones that always have to break me the bad news. And trust me, their hearts get broken. They're people. They're people who love me.
Wow. So any other plays or anything going on that you're doing? Because I'm pretty sure you're busy. I know you're busy.
Well, theater's never going to die. And I'm always going to look for an opportunity to be on stage. And thankfully, I have a culture and I have a community here in Chicago that they'll bring me in for auditions. That doesn't necessarily mean I'm getting booked and cast in the ways that I would like to. But that's because it's not meant for me. I never know until later. There was a show that I auditioned for The Goodman that I cried like a baby that I did not get. Turns out the person who did get it, in a quick brush of live knives on stage, got their finger cut off.
Oh,
wow.
So I'm like, rejection is divine protections most of the time.
Wow.
So theater, I'm still auditioning for theater. I have an audition on Tuesday, as a matter of fact, for something that I really want. But no, just writing right now. And I've been doing a lot of comedy in Chicago.
Comedy, yeah.
I've been doing a lot of comedy in Chicago. I've been doing a lot of MC.
I've been to not to cut you off, but I've been to the Goodman, saw you at the Goodman. What show is that?
Luna Gale.
That's what it was. I couldn't figure out the name.
Luna Gale was my first show that allowed me to quit my job and be a professional actor full time. And thankfully, I haven't had a boss in 7 years.
Yeah, she got mad love for that. I remember it was
Ron Cephas Jones, who just passed away yesterday, came behind the stage while he was rehearsing Of Mice of Men with Chris O'Dowd and. Oh my God!
That's right. You just posted that.
They were just in town and they came to see the show. They went behind the stage and I got to meet that magical man who's also given his entire life to theater. Theater is the only place where like actors can really feel alive and that their craft is part of their body and that they're truly masters of storytelling. TV is not that. It does not give you that vibe. Every single scene you've ever seen on TV was shot 30 times sometimes, or like, in 30 different ways. I say that as an exaggeration, but I'm not. Every single scene is shot at least 10 times. And so there's no organic nature to it. There's no like, just come in and like, be surprised. It's mechanical, it's methodical, monotonous, and you have to create a lot of energy. Theater is palpable. It's a truly like the highest caliber, the highest area where an actor can go and really showcase their work. And I'm going to try to keep doing that in Chicago. Chicago is hands down one of the finest places. Broadway shows come here first.
Really?
Yeah, they workshop here first, and then they go right on Broadway.
Every time I get a chance to see Melissa do her thing in the theater, I try to grab my wife and get my butt over there.
You saw Good Grief? Did you see Good Grief?
Which one was that one? That's not that haunted house one, right? With the little kid.
No, that was enough to let the light in.
Yeah.
No, Good Grief was the solo play about the death of my mother, and like I had a
No, I have not seen that.
Yeah, now it's in video format, but that ran at Free Street for 3 weekends in 2019, and that was a story that I told about having a single mother who had bipolar disorder, manic depression disorder, and how we like lived in our car for 6 months and traveled around the United States, and just kind of some of the pressures around not having access to medical and mental wellness resources.
You wrote that?
I wrote that.
Was that part of your experience?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I wrote that from my experience of having a mother who was an addict and also committed suicide, and in the middle of me trying to bring my career up. So around the same time, I was with you, my mother was affected by PTSD from the tragic event that happened in Houston. And so while her life deteriorated, mine was blossoming, and I was still trying to hold space for a lot of her illnesses, right? And it talks a lot about that, and it also talks a lot about some of the violence that, like we think that we had parents that really kept us in line, but some of it was, it's borderline abusive or just blatantly abusive. And I talk a lot about generational trauma and women particularly who do not have access to therapy, who absolutely need to decompress and really process postpartum depression, societal pressures and things like that. And it was really it was a work that I won a grant for to subsidize every audience member's first session of therapy by having 10 to 12 therapists in the room after every performance.
Melissa, I'm sorry, Carlos. Is this somewhere where people could see? Was this being recorded?
I recorded it. I put it on my channel. And so I recently released it because it took a long time to edit, because it was October 2019, March 2020, the pandemic hit.
Yep.
So it took a long time to get that material and to actually process it. And also there was a lot of, sticky situations with theaters. Like when we recorded, does it belong to the theater? Does it belong to me? Right? If they paid for it, do they? And then how are you going to distribute it? Who's going to see it? If it gets monetized, where do we go? So there's a lot of conversations that happen around just even trying to digitize your work. So it is released. It's called Good Grief. It's on my YouTube page, and I just say watch it with an open heart. It's a tough story, but it's also a joyful story. It's about Chicago. It's about single mothers. It's about young daughters. It's about finding yourself. It's about grief. It talks a lot about how I handled losing my mother and what I was doing and what I was not doing, and then how I came back from it. And I think everybody found in the audience found themselves in that story.
Was that a one-woman show?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it was my latest one. See, this is what I'm saying. Like, it's hard to market your own work. Like, Good Grief ran for 3 weeks, and it was like two performances shy of being award eligible.
Yeah.
Could it still get that?
No, but a nice young man who also had a solo show, they shortened that requirement so he can get an award.
I gotta know who this young man is. Come on, you can't just throw that out there. Spill the tea.
Flacco's show was also two performances short of being Jeff eligible, and he won a Jeff award for his solo show.
Awesome.
It's awesome, but you see, like,
I see the difference. Absolutely.
You see how inherent it is to kind of marginalize a woman's work.
I was gonna say that. Yeah.
And so, and he's new to Chicago. I've been a Chicago artist forever.
Brooklyn, right? Brooklyn?
The Bronx.
The Bronx.
And I don't say that to pit myself against, like, that's my partner. I love, we did our shows together. Like, that's my partner. But I have to continue to open his eyes to when we're walking together, even in our community. This is completely tangent, but I just feel like we have to talk about this if we're in the space.
Yeah.
The way that this community handles women, as soon as I'm walking in the park, I'm Flacco's girlfriend. I'm not Melissa DuPrey. And Flacco, for being Flacco, like, he's like, but I am that. And I was like, yes, baby, you are. But you also have to do the job of breaking that patriarchy by saying, and this is Melissa DuPrey.
Yes, sir.
you know,
Yes, ma'am.
at all
Mhm.
times. It's like you have to do the work of centering and balancing that, because if not, I get invisibilized just by being in relationship with you.
Yeah.
And it's apparent. People talk to him first and only sometimes. And at the end of the day, I was like, did you see this? Did you see this? And like, it's invisible to him, where he's just like, he's existing. But that's the benefit of privilege of being a man in a Latino community that's highly patriarchal, is that I get erased. My work gets erased constantly, not just in the industry, but even in my own community. I've been home. Nobody's calling me for MC work. You know, nobody's in my own community. I have to go outside of my community a lot of times in order to be successful. And that's why you've seen me at the Goodman. You see me at Steppenwolf. You haven't seen me at
the Chicago Theater or anything.
Yeah, all of these things. But you're not seeing me at Bandera. You're not seeing me at PRCC. You're definitely not seeing me at the National Museum of Puerto Rican History. You're definitely not seeing me in Casa Puertorriqueña. These male-run organizations do not invest in their women. So while I'm out here in Hollywood repping Humble Park does not rep me while I'm right here.
I can see that.
I can see that. Definitely.
Definitely.
She reps it to the fullest. I mean, if you do any research, you know, as we have, you know, we got to do our research on her. She probably puts Humble Park
in
right
everything.
There, in everything.
It's in my title. Hello, my name is Melissa DuPrey of the Humble Park DuPreys.
Yeah.
It's in my every single intro. But when I'm home, I make it apparent that like my community does not hold space, and it doesn't hold space for women. There are women who have businesses on Paseo and they're not highlighting it. There are women who have murals in the city. There are women from our community who have access to local level legislation, and they're not supporting the women that are coming out of the community. But we will definitely praise and rain parades on men from our community, and then men from outside our community that will help lift us. So I think we have to have a larger narrative shift and actually recognize when we as men are supporting patriarchy and we are using our privilege to lift us up, and not passing the mic to a woman or not passing that gig to a woman. If you're taking a job and you know that there's a woman that's been doing it longer and capable, or maybe even not as capable, but doesn't have the opportunity to learn, pass that job on. Like, I know you got mouths to feed, but so does she. You know, and also break the norm. We need more women in those positions. We need more producers. We need more you know, marketers, promoters. Like, women have such a hard time breaking into anything, and we are so smart and so creative.
Yes, you are.
I agree.
Yes, you are. And that's something I love about you and what you have, that aura that you have, because that empowers my own kid, my Natalia.
I love her.
And she loves you as well.
I love her so much.
And I can always say, hey, Melissa's on TV. And she's like, or she'll tell me, Melissa's on TV. She'll call me. I'm like, all right, let's watch Melissa.
And I did not know we had such combined history, you know, really overlapping history until, you know, took a funeral. Yeah.
And we actually knew each other now since we were 28, actually 27 till now. So yeah, about 11 years.
Yes. Yeah, it's beautiful. And again, thank you for the community and thank you for the space. I love what you're doing here. I hope you have more women. I hope you have more opportunities to bring in women. I hope a woman runs one of these things.
She's going to be back there with Franco.
Right.
She's going to be back there with Franco. In fact, Franco's going to take a break.
Yeah. Thank you all so much. Thank you for having me.
We're honored.
Any more questions?
No, I just had.
Because me and Melissa were just having a conversation.
Yeah, I'm like on the sideline. Yeah. So Melissa, listen. So we heard about your struggle. You could have been a product of your environment, but you overcame that, right? So I say to you this: we have a lot of Melissas out there that want to get into the acting, the singing, or whatnot, right? Raising Humble Park, Garfield Park, wherever in the city. How can they start that process? How could they get into being an actress, right? What would they have to do? Is there anything out there that helps our kids to get into that role?
How can they get into being actresses?
Yeah.
Actors are fine. Actor is the title. That's fine. There's it doesn't have to be as gendered, but come see me.
Come see you.
Come see me.
Come on
I
now.
teach.
That's a personal invitation from Melissa DuPrey.
Come see me. I will teach you. I do workshops. I do one-on-ones. I do coaching. I'm a professor at a university now. Come see me because I'm going to also try to find what that talent is. And it doesn't necessarily have to be acting. Storytelling is powerful. If the story that you have is better said as a poem, it's better said as a rap. If it's better said as a painting, we're gonna find the conduit But if you have a story that you need to tell and you want to figure out how to tell it, we're going to navigate your artistic process. Not everything has to be like, I think a lot of young people want to shoot for fame and they want to see themselves on screen and they want to see themselves self-centered. And I think that that's beautiful, but there are a lot of ways to fulfill that story, that need in ways that it might not work for you. You know, that may be a beautiful vision, but it might work as a director. Like, can we get you as a director? Can you be a filmmaker? Can you be a podcast host? Like, there's a story, but how you tell it, that's also a journey.
So basically what you're saying is if a person or a kid has an idea, you will help them as far as, hey, there's more than that. There's a bunch of other avenues you could, and you might be better on doing this than that, you know?
Yeah, that's a consultation of your craft. But I think if somebody wants to do acting, yes, come to me for coaching, and you know, we'll get plays, we'll get script. I'll show you how to self-tape. I'll show you how to submit. I'll show you what you need to do to get a headshot, an agent, you know, all of those things, industry things. But sometimes, you know, what people are really finding is that their version of success does not align with what their capabilities and what they're really built for. Their talent, like they see they see themselves doing something, but no one has ever told them that you can do this, and it fulfills the same need, right? Like they're not exposed to the wealth of opportunity that there is out there. And so I think, one, it's finding your story. It's knowing who you are and what you're doing, and then exposing you to all of the multitudes of ways that you can get that story out. And it doesn't always have to be in front of the camera and celebritydom. Like, we have to stop worshiping celebritydom and really worshiping the idea of your existence is valuable. And if it's the story that you want to tell it. And don't go chasing the fame just because you told your story. It's the purpose. You have to find your purpose.
That's beautiful. So you guys heard it here. She said reach out to her. We're gonna grab your contact info.
So wait a second, we just do that right now. So Melissa, where can they contact you? It's gonna be on the screen.
You can contact me at www.onlyfans.com. Just kidding. You can reach me. Find me on Instagram. Instagram is a platform that I'm building at Boom Boom DuPrey. Follow that work there. There is a link tree on my bio that has all of my website information. It has my email, ways to book me. I always put what I'm doing next, whatever show I'm on. My link tree is in my bio of my Instagram. If you want to go to my website, it's www.melissadupre.com. And I'm pretty good about posting up where I'm going to be and what I'm working on and what I'm doing on Instagram. And then it kind of funnels over to Facebook. Facebook, I'm kind of fading out from because it's become a place where like there's too much conversation there. There's a lot of distraction, but Instagram is like, I use that for promotions. I'm a blue check now. I'm verified.
Okay.
Congratulations, man.
The thing is,
well, they were paying for it, right? Like $25 when Elon Musk.
That's on Twitter. Yeah, that's on Twitter.
Oh, that's Twitter.
No,
On
Instagram it's metafied instead of verified. It's metafied. So like some people have chosen to pay $5 a month for that blue check. No, I worked for mine and it finally came. But the best way to reach me is through those DMs, and also through the website. It's got an email there. You know, if you want me to book me for an MC gig, for a fundraiser, if you want me to speak at your gala and really raise money because your organization is social justice rooted or it's femme led, like please, I really want to use that platform and activate the room to invest in your spaces. I'm available for that.
All right.
It's one of my favorite things to do. I also do workshops, and I'm available for all of those. So find me on Instagram. My page is there. My link tree is there. I'm very accessible.
Awesome. So right now we got a bless up. JJ, what's your bless up?
My bless up is the Chicago Food Depository. I've had the ability to volunteer at this place. It's a great nonprofit organization where you could go and volunteer your services to help people that don't have food, right? So what they do is not only food, they give you healthy food. As you know, a lot of these free food out there in the community is a bunch of junk. Right?
Box things, dried
sugar
goods,
and everything.
No nutrients.
No nutrients whatsoever. So this place here, you work for about 2 hours and you are going to do some work. Okay, you're not just gonna go there and just say, "Hey, I volunteer," and you're just walking around. No, you're gonna be bagging potatoes, onions, all kinds of stuff. But at the end of your work shift, they break down the numbers on how many families you actually help by volunteering your services to them. So I've done this about 3 times, and it's a great, great feeling. So bless up to them. And if you guys want to go anywhere and check it out, we're gonna post the website, the link there, and they do a ton of other stuff as well. So that's my bless up.
So guys, look those up. We got Jay Season coming right about now with the positive note.
Flava family, what's good? JC, sorry I couldn't be with you guys on this episode, but I'm still coming at you with a positive note. I just came out of the gym and I did 25 rounds on a heavy bag. And my note for you this week is don't get too caught up training for a knockout that you neglect training your endurance. This is what I mean by that. Some of our storms, some of our troubles in life will go on a lot longer than we wanted to, right? You're looking for the knockout in the first 2-3 rounds, and that's fine. If you could do that, knock it out. But if you don't train for endurance, this is what's going to happen. The storm is going to last a lot longer than you anticipated, and this is where you will start to break mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. So with that, I tell you, train endurance, train for the long haul. We want the flashy win and we want it fast, but it don't always come. Something to ponder on. Anyway, this is JC. This is your positive note. I love you guys. This is Flava and we are out.
And now, Mr. DuPrey, thank you for coming down to the Flava podcast. Baby girl, you got flavor.
Thank you all for having me. Bless you all.
Bless you.